Hello students, welcome for this minor course on object-oriented programming in Java having the course code as ITTM51. So before diving into the syllabus, we'll just quickly go through that is the course outcome. So at the end of this particular course, you will be understanding the different features of object-oriented programming language. You people will able to implement the different Java programs or several Java programs using the different features of object-oriented programming language. Will be able to apply the concept of classes, object, inheritance, polymorphism to solve or to provide the solution to any real-time problems. We'll also able to apply the object-oriented concept to solve any given problem statement. And lastly, we are going to implement the different data structures using the object-oriented programming language. So these are what all the course outcomes that we are going to achieve by the end of this particular course. So let's start with the syllabus. So in this particular lecture, we are going to discuss or we are going to start with our first unit, that is the introduction to the object-oriented programming language. So when I'm talking about the introduction to the object-oriented programming, so we are not going to touch the Java features or the Java programming language. Whereas we are going to discuss the generalized features of any object-oriented programming language. Or in other words, if you want to say any given programming language as an object-oriented programming language, then which are the different features that particular programming language should support, that is what the thing we are going to discuss in this first unit. But again, one question may be there, that why we should learn the object oriented programming language, because prior to this particular programming language we already learned the C programming language, we already learned the Python programming language, then why again the third programming language we should learn? And again guys, the question is quite obvious, but again the answer is the languages which we have learned up before this object oriented programming language, we only covered the procedural oriented orientation of the C language as well as the Python programming language. When we discuss about the Python programming language, so we have defined that the Python programming language can be used as a procedure oriented programming language, can also be used as an object oriented programming language, and also can be used as a scripting language. But when we learned the Python programming language in Python for Everybody course, so we only covered the procedural oriented approach of Python programming language. And this is what the era of object oriented programming language. So if you ask you the question that why we should learn the object oriented programming language, so but obvious the answer is that there are certain limitation, there are certain drawbacks, there are certain lacunas which are there with the earlier approach, and that is the reason why we should learn the object oriented programming language. That is, the question is, why do we need the object oriented programming language? And the basic answer, or the but obvious the answer is what, कि there are certain problems, there are certain lacunas, there are certain limitations with the earlier approaches, and that is the reason, in order to overcome or in order to address those limitations or the drawbacks, we should learn the object oriented programming language. So before starting with the concepts, or before no discussing about the features of the object oriented programming language, we'll just quickly discuss, or we just quickly recap that what is the procedure oriented programming language. And then, keeping the procedure oriented programming language in mind, we are going to discuss the object oriented programming language. That is what we are going to differentiate the earlier approach, that is the procedure oriented programming language, with the object oriented programming language. So when I'm talking about a procedure oriented programming language, so there are many programming languages which are fall into the category of procedure oriented programming language, like C, Pascal, Fortran, right? All these programming languages are fall into the category of procedural oriented programming language. And out of all these programming languages, we have learned the C programming language as a procedural oriented programming language. So the question which arises, why the C is called as a procedural oriented programming language. So but obvious the answer is what? If I ask you to write the program to perform the addition of two numbers, so to write the answer or to write the program for that particular problem statement, we may write the steps like take the two numbers, perform the addition, no, get the result and print the output. So almost all of you must be following the steps like this. So the C language is called as procedural language because it is following some list of instructions, right? In order to write the program, we are following the standard list of instruction, and that standard list of instruction is nothing but called as the procedure. And just because of that, we are writing the procedures. Whenever we are writing the program, we say that the C as a procedural oriented programming language. So when I'm talking about any procedure oriented programming language, so it is having certain characteristics. Like the very first characteristics of any procedure oriented programming language, that it emphasizes more onto the procedure rather than the data. Means we have to focus majorly on following the procedures, because that language is abide or that language is having a strict procedure. So as a programmer, we have to be very keen, or we have to be very careful while writing the program, that whether we are following the standard procedure or not. If you fail to follow the standard procedure, your program is going to throw the errors, right? So as a programmer, we are focusing more onto the procedures rather than your logic or your data. So that is what the first characteristics of your procedure oriented programming language. Whereas when we are writing the large program, in case of your procedure oriented programming language, so we break that large program into the smaller programs, whereas each small program is known as the functions. Means what we can say, that we are writing the C program. So when we are writing the C program, we are breaking the C program into the small parts, whereas each small part is nothing but called as the functions. Whereas whenever we are writing the function, so function must be having some data, the function must be having some logic. So whatever data, whatever the logic your function is having, that all the data is global in nature. Now when I'm saying global in nature, it does mean that that particular data which is there in the function, it is accessible everywhere, right? Means certain data, if I'm writing in a one function, so that particular data may be accessible in second function, may be accessible in third function, and in that way we are compromising the security of our data. And that is what one of the drawback of your procedure oriented programming language, that is what the global data, right? And as your data is global, so your data is moving openly around the system from function to function. And lastly, the procedure oriented programming language employs the top down approach. Now when I'm saying the top down approach, you must have observed that whenever we are writing the C program, so at the beginning, the moment we declare the header file, we write the main function. And when I'm talking about the operation of the compiler or how the compiler works, so compiler initially, or compiler starts compiling the program from the main function. And in case of C, as your main function is situated at the beginning of the program, so compiler starts compiling the program from the top, right? And likewise it no just scan the next line till the last line. And that way we say that the procedural oriented programming language follows the top down approach. So these are what the certain characteristics of the procedural oriented programming language. But again our question is unanswered, that what is the need of object oriented programming language. So the need of object oriented programming language is just because there are certain drawbacks, there are certain limitation with the procedural oriented programming language. And the very first drawback in case of your procedural oriented programming language is nothing but extendability, right? Now when I'm talking about extendability, it does mean that if suppose I have written certain program, and next time if new programmer wants to add the new function to that particular program. So as a new programmer, that particular programmer, but obviously going to focus on a new function which that programmer is trying to write. But by writing the new function, not going to know execute your program, or not going to know make make that function the part of that particular program. So in order to add the new function into the existing program, that new programmer has to make the changes in entire program. If the programmer fails to do the changes in entire program, so that new function which the programmer has added is going to mess the entire code. Means what? You can say that the entire code may give the error, or your code may get corrupt. So that is the reason the extendability or modification in the program is not the easy task in case of your procedural oriented programming language. And that is what first and foremost drawback of your procedural oriented programming language. The second drawback, as I discussed, that the data accessibility. As the data is global in nature, so we are compromising the security of the data, and that is what the second drawback in case of your procedural oriented programming language. The third is that is the reusability, that we cannot reuse the same code again and again in case of your procedure oriented programming language. And these three drawbacks are quite enough that we need the another approach to overcome the drawback of the procedure oriented programming language. And that is the reason we are no we are switching towards the next another type of programming language, that is the object oriented programming language. And as we are dealing, or as we are having these three major drawbacks, so we usually do not use the procedural oriented programming language to address or to model the real world problem, right? And that is the reason why we should learn the object oriented programming language, right? So let's move towards the object oriented programming language. So object oriented programming language is evolved or is introduced to overcome the limitations of the earlier approach, that is the procedural oriented programming language, and the limitations with the earlier approach, that is the security, reusability, maintainability, then extendability. So all these are the limitations, all these are the lacunas with respect to the procedural oriented programming language. So again, the question may arise that when we can say a particular programming language as an object oriented programming language, because since 1950s to till date we are having thousands of the programming language, right? And when I'm saying that I'm having the thousands of programming language, so either or any programming language may fall into the category of programming language. And the categories of the programming languages are: the programming language can be the procedure oriented programming language, the programming language can be the object oriented programming language, the programming language can be the object based programming language. Means whenever I am talking about any given programming language, that particular programming language can fall into the any of the family. So likewise, so if I want to say any given programming language as an object oriented programming language, then how we are going to say, right? So for that purpose, if you want to say any given programming language as an object oriented programming language, then that particular language should support the basic building blocks of object oriented programming language, where there are many features, but out of that I'm focusing on four major pillars on which the object oriented programming language is built. And if any language is supporting these four building blocks or four pillars of object oriented programming language, then we can say that that particular language as a object oriented programming language. And those four major pillars are: number one is a data encapsulation, number two is a data abstraction, number three it is a polymorphism, and number four is a inheritance. So when any language is supporting these four pillars of object oriented programming language, then we can say that that particular programming language as the object oriented programming language. For example, Java is the object oriented programming language, C++ is the object oriented programming language, C Sharp, Python, all these programming language fall into the category of object oriented programming language. And we say this, or we can say this programming language as object oriented programming language because all this programming language supports the four major pillars of object oriented programming language. So next we are going to discuss the characteristics of object oriented programming language. So the way we have seen the characteristics of procedure oriented programming language, likewise object oriented programming language is also having certain characteristics or the features. So in case of object oriented programming language, it is focusing more onto the data rather than the procedure. Means what? As a programmer, we do not need to worry, we do not need to concern about the procedure, which was the case in case of your procedure oriented programming language, where we are more concerned or more bother about the procedure rather than the data. But in case of object oriented programming language, we are more focusing or we are more concerned about the data as compared to the procedures. Whereas in case of object oriented programming language, we are dividing the large program into the smaller entities, whereas each smaller entities is nothing but called as the objects. Whereas in case of your procedure oriented programming language, we are dividing the large program into the smaller entities or the smaller parts, whereas each small parts were called as the functions. Then the next thing, in case of procedure oriented programming language, it was following the top down approach, whereas object oriented programming language follows the bottom up approach. Now when I am saying the bottom up approach, it does mean that we are writing the main function in case of object oriented programming language at the end of the program. Means what? We are writing all the logic, all the functions, all the classes just at the top, whereas we are writing the main function, that is the point from where the compiler will starts compiling the program, that is at the end of the program, that is at the bottom of the program. And that way we can say that, or that way we are saying that the object oriented programming language follows the bottom up approach, whereas in case of procedure oriented programming language, it follows the top down approach because the main function were present at the beginning of the program, right? And the next is, in case of object oriented programming language, your data is hidden, that is it cannot be accessed by other function without the permission of the programmer. So that way we can maintain, or we can say that we will going to maintain the security of the data. So next, whenever we are talking about the object oriented programming language, the object oriented programming language will be having some basic features, and these basic features will be common for all the object oriented programming language. Means these features will be there in the Python, these features will be there in the C Sharp, these features will be there in the Java, these features will there will be in the C++. So these are what the basic building blocks, or you can say the basic features of any object oriented programming language. So these basic features includes, the very first is the object, second is the classes, the third is data abstraction, the fourth is data encapsulation, the fifth is polymorphism, the sixth is inheritance, next we are having the dynamic binding, and last we are having the message passing. So these are what the basic concepts which is related to the object oriented programming language. And whenever we are discussing about the object oriented programming language, this object oriented programming language is revolving around the two basic concepts, or the two basic things that we are going to see or we are going to witness very frequently when we start writing the program using the object oriented programming in Java. And those two things or the two entities are object and classes. Means in other words, your object oriented programming language is revolving around the two terms, and those two terms are nothing but object and classes. So on this note I conclude this second lecture, that is on introduction to the object oriented programming language. From next class onwards we are going to discuss these basic concepts with some real time example, with some real time scenarios, and we are going to see the usage of this particular concepts while writing the program in Java. So on that note, I conclude this unit, I conclude this lecture over here. See you for your next class. Till that time, bye bye. Thank you.